Hello, I'm Antonello Manacorda, conductor and conducting Il Pomodoro Orchestra and Lisette Oropesa for this marvelous CD of Mozart Concert arias. Yes, this is the first time I worked with a Baroque orchestra, though I have to say that I spent almost my entire life trying to explain to modern orchestras how a Baroque orchestra sounds and try to make them sound a little bit this direction. So that's the reason why it was so exciting for me to do this project, because finally I work with people that know what this language is, to speak this language. And it was very, very exciting encounter.
I think the opportunity to sing and record Mozart, particularly with orchestra for the first time on record for me, is really essential, because I've always considered Mozart to be an essential composer for any musician. I grew up playing the flute and studying the flute, and when I became a singer kind of full-time, Mozart was always the kind of music that I responded to the most. And it might have been because of flute study, it might have just been because I love the music, I find the music intriguing, I find the music rich, I find the music simple and also complex, and I love Mozart as a composer.
Yeah, this repertoire, it's very interesting because it's an amazing repertoire, incredible music that is still unknown to so many people. And I knew this repertoire for various reasons since, I would say, about 10, 11 years, but not before. And I mean, Mozart wrote so much, but these concert arias are seldom played. There's not so many occasions to do concert arias in concerts. And then, of course, not in opera. So you need really to have people who are interested, dedicated, and like to discover new things. And it happened to me that I talked to musicians, renowned musicians, well-known musicians, and who know so much repertoire and opera and music generally that have no idea that the concert arias exist, even. It's a jewel, such a CD, and to have, because we have in the CD more known arias, but also really unknown arias inside. Even to people who know concert arias, they don't know them. So I think it's very interesting, and since it's Mozart, they're all masterpieces anyway.
One of the very first opportunities I ever had to perform an operatic role on stage was in an opera by Mozart, and that was Le Nozze di Figaro. And I got to sing the role of Susanna, and that was my first big operatic role on the professional stage. And it's a sublime opera, it's a sublime piece, and the concert arias of Mozart, even though they're not operatic in the sense that they don't occur in operas, unless they're inserted in operas, they have an operatic scope about them, and I appreciate that, because even though they are instrumental sometimes in nature, the writing that Mozart gives to the singer is instrumental in nature. There is still the dramatic element that you find in opera, which is that the text is very driven. The text often has a very dramatic conflict, because we have the instrumental side in that the music is very technical, it's very demanding for the singer, but we have the operatic, dramatic side that Mozart was so wonderful at setting a beautiful text.
The arias that we've chosen for this CD are covering a very big part of Mozart's life, which was not very long, but still his development of composing during his life, it's enormous for the amount of years that he worked. And in the early arias we have a little bit more kind of Mozart looking backwards to Gluck and to the opera seria style. And then he develops into a much deeper psychological work of the text and of the characters who are singing those concert arias in the later ones. It's interesting because his way of writing for the voice it's always so well written for the voice, even if it is extremely virtuoso. And in the early arias, maybe, I suppose, one should ask him, but I suppose he knew a bit less about voices, so it's more his talent that comes out and his incredible talent and invention and fantasy that he has. And then he uses the virtuosity to a little bit show off as well. And later on, he goes, of course, much more into the text, and then there is more link of the way it is written for the voice and the way the text should come out of the music itself, I think.
Not only does he set the text beautifully for the singer, but he sets the text beautifully for the orchestra. And this is something that we really were able to discover and play with when doing these arias with the Pomodoro Orchestra, which is an extraordinary orchestra. They are a Baroque ensemble, but they are a very articulate ensemble in the sense that every instrument has a color, every instrument has a role to play. Every time a special line would come out, an instrument would have a chance to play it. It gives a different emotional color, and the musicians are aware of that. And that was really nice to get to listen to get to enjoy, and to get to collaborate with Maestro Manacorda. We had a very beautiful rapport together because he is a very experienced orchestral player. He's also an experienced conductor, and the two of us got along really well, really easily. We were able to find things together. We were able to discover things that neither of us had thought of, that the music taught us. And so for me, this was really just overwhelming, an opportunity to collaborate, to be inspired, and to simply just do what I love to do, which is to sing Mozart in particular, but also just to sing Mozart, to sing music that is beautiful, to sing music that is expressive, to sing music that demands everything of the human voice.
I think Mozart was a very wild person, and that's what we know from his letters, but very much from the music he wrote. So I think it's a misunderstanding thinking that Mozart is a composer of beautiful music. I think he is a composer of every mood into music, and wildness definitely belongs to it. And I think that his way of using music to describe who we are, where we come from, where do we go. So it's a way of making philosophy, his way of writing music. So it cannot be beautiful. It has to be describing who we are as human beings. And so it is, first of all, not beautiful. Then major key, beautiful and happy. Minor key, sad and more deep. It's also a convention that it doesn't work. Mozart comes out of course, the Italian Baroque opera, the Napolitan opera tradition, and Gluck. That's what he listens to. when he's a kid, and what he got as an offer on his iTunes list, in a way. And then there is in Gluck a lot of examples of incredibly deep and sad musical numbers that are in major keys. And the most common one is Je perdis mon Eurydice from Orphée and Eurydice, Gluck, where the aria is, of course, the most sad moment of somebody who lost love of his life and try to save her. And it's a very, very happy tune in C major, very simple, that you could actually sing under your shower. But the text and the tension between this incredibly moving situation and the major key, it's the tension between these two actually kind of antithetical things. It makes it so full of feelings because of that. And I think that is something that Mozart uses as well, very, very, very much. If we think of Contessa arias in Nozze di Figaro, this is the most melancholic persona in Mozart opera repertoire, I think, and those arias are both in major key as well. So this is the same thing like Gluck.
It is no secret that the concert arias are all very difficult. I don't think there is a single easy concert aria by Mozart that I've ever looked at. It's certainly a hallmark of Mozart's compositions. In fact, I also find that it's funny that the more simple it looks on paper, the harder it is to sing. And the reason is because Mozart's music is very transparent. Mozart's music is very to the core. And because of that, you can't really hide behind anything. If there is a flaw, if there is something not perfect with your intonation, if any little thing goes awry in your voice, for just a split second, everyone hears it. It's comforting. It's also tragic, it's complex, it's simple, it is all of those things. And this is, I think, in a lot of ways, the human experience, but also the human experience that we hear in this type of music, because it brings out everything that we feel, everything that we can't say, everything that we can't talk about, everything that we fear, and everything that hurts, and everything that we long for, in such a beautiful way in the music that you hear it and you feel it, but you can't really explain it. You can't really translate it exactly right. You only know that you feel it and that you understand it.